Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News, the show that may or may not be 5 minutes. Today in the news, just like I knew was going to happen, Diablo 4, pretty much from what I can tell, received some really great reviews, and everyone I know who was playing was super into it, and all these streamers were going mega ham on the game, and just everyone seemed to be enjoying. But like clockwork, the minute the stream hype died down a little bit, the minute everyone had time with the game, you knew it was going to happen. Complaints about microtransactions. The Wraithlord cosmetic set, one of the many that are out there at the moment, costs 2,800 in-game platinum, which translates to roughly 20-some of your hard-earned dollars. Now I know some of you are going to be like, Jesse, are you just going to complain about Diablo? What is this? Trust me, just bear with me. This isn't a crap all over Diablo sesh. There's a point here. Ted Litchfield, writer for PC Gamer, shared, I felt something similar when I saw the full scroll of cosmetic DLC for RE4 unfurl before its release. Not anger, just a resigned disappointment. With Diablo 4, even though the Death Toll Prestige Equipment cosmetic for Barbarians can't hurt me, it still made me sigh. I just find the trend so tacky and wearisome from toe to tip, but it ain't going anywhere. Because it sells. In fact, it has been selling. And this is the road we're traveling on to the point. It's not a Diablo thing, it's a gaming thing. And this article, just like this segment, is focusing on that aspect of gaming now, which is microtransactions and buying little cosmetics. And even though it may not improve your DPS, it does make you look cooler, and it does make people jealous, and it makes people want to buy the thing you just bought. And now it's kind of crappy. It kind of sucks. In fact, it definitely sucks. But the problem is, we're all on board with it. Whether we like it or not, we've consented to this. And you might say, Jesse, that's bullshit. No way did I consent to any of this. But earlier in the piece, Ted writes how, sure, he purchased cosmetics in the past when they were cheaper, but now it feels wrong. Which my initial reaction was, of course it's wrong. It has always been wrong. Buying things from these companies, they're just gonna try nickel and dime you and rip you off in game, trying to get you to buy things that they could have just put in the game for you to farm or collect or whatever. It's content that should have just been in the game, yet obviously they're gonna make it into separate DLC microtransaction things because that's the way the industry is now, especially for AAA titles. Yet I am hypocritical as shit. Just like many of you out there, I have in the past bought stuff. In Final Fantasy XIV, I bought a mount because it looked cool and I wanted it. And it was like kind of Jesse-y themed. It's a little Lotus thing. I thought it was lovely. I wanted it. I had to have it. And so I bought it. And that's the problem. I mean, like, Blizzard isn't the only culprit. In Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Ubisoft introduced purchasable XP boosts and material packs that would essentially help you skip grinding in the game, for a price. Bethesda's infamous Oblivion Horse Armor DLC. And then they decided to one-up themselves in Elder Scrolls Online by charging roughly $10 for a normal beige horse, no armor whatsoever. And so you can see the things that we can buy in games are all over the place and varied, but also kind of whatever the hell they think they can sell us. And it clearly works. I mean, I don't know what to say. This is one of those in the comments, what's the answer here? Because we have clearly, as a gaming society, showed these companies, yeah, we'll buy stuff. And even when people say, nah, it's the worst, look in the mirror. Because this feels like one of those mom and pop shop things where they all vanished and everyone was like, Walmart killed Main Street USA. But really, we all did, right? We went to Walmart. It was cheaper. They had a wider selection. And so it was easier and more convenient for us to go. And we straight up just killed all the things we loved, or at least used to love, or said we loved, in favor of convenience. And this is one of those things where, you mean I don't have to grind 50 hours to get this mount? I could just pay you $25? $25 is a lot of money, and still we are like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And these prices of cosmetics and various other microtransactions keep rising. It's like Pavlov's dog. We've just trained these companies to know that if they build it, if they make it, if they charge for it, they will get someone to pay for it. Which means we all have to collectively come together to agree never to buy another microtransaction so they stop doing it. Or I don't know, I guess we just accept it and hate it, but know that it's part of life, like taxes. I don't know. It sucks. It's a weird place to be in the gaming industry, but it's a conversation I want to have with you. And so I feel like down below, hit me with your feedback. I'd love to know more because, yeah, I can't sit here and be like, don't buy microtransactions while I've got my cool looking mount that I paid for. You know what I mean? It's hypocritical. But people do it all the time. They will literally tell you, do not purchase microtransactions. They're the worst. And then I'll watch them go buy something and be like, what? And then, of course, they'll hit us back with something that's like, I'm doing it to show you what a waste of money it is. But also, I have all this cool armor. And you're like, okay. In other news, Summer Games Fest is a day away, and I'm very excited for this weekend. I'm going to see a lot of games. I'm going to try and tell you as much as I'm allowed to about what I see, but got some really cool games I'm checking out. And Jeff Keighley wants you to know, hey, it wasn't Summer Games Fest that killed E3. It's not him. He didn't do it. In an interview with Video Games Chronicle, Keighley shared, I think E3 sort of killed itself in a way. I understand why people say SGF killed E3, but I think if anything, we created Summer Game Fest and I built Summer Game Fest because I saw the wheels falling off the wagon of E3. Wheels that at least up to some point he was clearly content to ride on because I was with him in 2019 on stage doing a whole thing at E3. And so, like, he was hosting a bunch of stuff for it then, but I guess maybe because he was so involved with it, he could see the writing on the wall. Because it wasn't until after 2019, when COVID hit, that we really started to see things fall apart for E3. But you can also understand why people would think that Games Fest killed E3, because this man deliberately tweeted a reminder announcement of Summer Game Fest only hours after the cancellation of E3 was made official. When addressing suggestions that E3's cancellation may have been accelerated by publishers deciding to go to Summer Game Fest instead, Keighley denied that was the case. I get the sentiment around it. It was sad to me that we had to decide to go off and build something new, but we did that all in partnership with the publishers, and our list of partners for Summer Game Fest did not change at all with the cancellation of E3 this year, which I think is an interesting statement because what would that have been? You have the Game Fest and then E3 both at roughly the same time, both with roughly the same games. I guess, honestly, if I had to make a comparison of why I think he wasn't really concerned about E3 versus Game Fest, is because even if they were both at the same time, the nature of E3 changed over the last 7-8 years. It became less of an industry event and more of an open to the public, everyone kind of there event where the lines became insanely long and there was this like different shift in tone of what it was. So I can see how someone like Keighley would see that as, this isn't E3 anymore. This is something different. And so Game Fest, I think, is this different beast that he wanted to create. Because when I was there last year, across the board, everyone there had the exact same opinion, which was, man, this feels like the old days. It's very small. There aren't a lot of people walking around, but there are a lot of games to see. You can go from game to game to game to game to get it all in and then come back and, write an article or do whatever the industry you do. And that, I think, was the big vibe everyone had, that it just was a smaller affair and felt like, oh, hey, I know that streamer. No, I know that YouTuber and that writer. Oh, yeah, and that and you kind of had that community vibe of just the people working in the industry, which I think was missing from E3, and that's why Game Fest took off the way it did inside the industry circles. Obviously, we'll see how it looks this year, as I'm sure more and more people want to attend, and more people are invited, and so I think it's in the same space, which means it may be a little crowded. We will see. But I'm excited. I'll report back to you and let you know how it was and what went on. Speaking of things going on this weekend, tomorrow we'll all find out what secrets I'm getting to see this weekend in the big stream that's happening at noon PST, 3 Eastern, and 9 p.m., 8 p.m. over in the UK. Hopefully I got that correct. You're going to see the big stream of all the games Keighley's showing off this weekend, so I'll be streaming that over on Twitch. Please, by all means, come and watch and we'll see what's in store for us the rest of the year. Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks so much, and I'll see y'all tomorrow for another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News.